a friend of mine, a lady friend, I was going with her sister, and she came over to my house one day and said, I was driving down the freeway today, and I had the best idea for a country and western song. And I said, well, what is it? She said, the last thing I needed, the first thing this morning, was to have you walk out on me. And so I went, the last thing I needed, the first thing this morning, to have you walk out on me. And so I told her, I said, you go write the verse, and I'll make the chorus and make a song. And this is the way it turned out today. Tears in your beer, folks. The postman delivered past due bill notice. The clock rang 2 hours late. The garbage man dumped all the trash on the sidewalk. Hinges fell off of the gate. Sad song. This morning at breakfast, I spilled all my coffee. I opened a door on my knee. The last thing I needed, the first thing this morning, was to have you walk out on me. The last thing I needed, the first thing this morning, was to have you walk out on me. Oh, that's country, boy.
Guitars and Cadillacs and hillbilly music along the lonely streets that I call home. Yeah, it's my guitars and Cadillacs and hillbilly music, the only thing that keeps me hanging on.
Some of the toughest and best country music came from honky tonks, which were beer joints on the outskirts of town where ordinary folks would come to drink and dance and laugh and cry and maybe do a bit of slipping around. And the music they listened to was as tough as the honky tonks themselves.
When you got out into the wilds of Texas, it was it was ranch hands, farm hands, it was people, working people coming out, been working all week, had a little extra money, took their honey out for a spin on the dance floor. A lot of times we'd play out at the old Cotton Club, and besides the cars that would come up, there'd be a bunch of tractors just drive up off the cotton fields and park out front.
Guitars and Cadillacs and hillbilly music, the only thing that keeps me hanging on. Yeah, it's the only thing that keeps me hanging on. Yeah, it's the only thing that keeps me hanging on.
They used to talk about country music being the white man's blues, And of course, one great thing about the Austin honky-tonk music was the blend of all of it, the blend of blues, rock and roll, country, and everything.
You got such a wide range of honky-tonks, everything from a sleazy little dive, to a real high dollar club.
Did you ever see Dallas from a DC 99? Well, Dallas is a jewel, oh yeah, Dallas is a beautiful sight. And Dallas is a jungle, but Dallas gives a beautiful light. Did you ever see Dallas from a DC 99?
Well, Dallas is a woman who'll walk on you when you're down. Baby, when you're up, she's the kind you want to take around. But Dallas ain't a woman to help you get your feet on the ground. Lord, Dallas is a woman who'll walk on you when you're down. Well, I came into Dallas with the bright lights on my mind. But I came into Dallas with a dollar and a dime. Dallas is a rich man with a death wish inside. A steel and concrete soul and a warm-hearted love disguise. A rich man who tends to believe in his own lies. Yeah, Dallas is a rich man with a death wish in his eyes. Oh, I came into Dallas with the bright lights on my mind. But I came into Dallas with a dollar and a dime. Did you ever see Dallas from a DC 9 at night? Well, Dallas is a jewel, oh yeah, Dallas is a beautiful sight. And Dallas is a jungle, but Dallas gives a beautiful life. Did you ever see Dallas from a DC 9 at
I grew up right behind the Rock Island Railroad tracks, and about 6 blocks on the other side was Route 66. I'd go over to the alley behind Route 66, and all it was honky-tonks from one end of Amarillo to the other, just like just a string of them, you know. Really? From the minute you got into town, because it was a main route between the east and the west, and musicians had to go up and down it, and anybody that was traveling from the East Coast to the Promised Land had to go down Route 66 through this maze of honky-tonks. I was probably at 9 or 10, and I remember just kind of sneaking over one night and hearing the music in the back door, and found out it was Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys. And I just heard it through the crack in the door.
Well, all right.
Bob Wills' brand of big band western swing laid the basis for the honky-tonk sound.
Bob Wills' music was easier to find because most of the bands around had learned all of the Bob Wills songs. It was hip to know Bob Wills' music, and even some of the better musicians, some of the jazz musicians you'd find them showing up in the western swing bands around the country, because a lot of people say that western swing is just musicians playing jazz to country music, and that's just about what it amounts to.
There was a time when I thought of no other, and we sing our own love refrain. Our hearts beat as one as we had our fun, but time changes everything. When you left me, my poor heart was broken. Our romance seemed all in vain. The dark clouds are gone and there's blue skies again, 'cause time changes everything.
To guitar, Jimmie, Cameron.
Electric guitars were used in country long before rock and roll was even thought of. And when they came in, the bands got smaller, more mobile and louder so they could be heard over the noise in the honky-tonks. The words got grittier and more realistic as the music got more hard-edged. Leading the way was Ernest Tubb, a Texan who sang lovably flat all his life, an inspiration to us fans of expanded intonation everywhere.
I'm walking the floor over you. I can't sleep a wink, that is true. I'm hoping and I'm praying as my heart breaks right in two. Walking the floor over you. Now someday you may be lonesome too. Walking the floor is good for you. Just keep right on walking and it won't hurt you to cry. Remember that I love you and I will the day I die. I'm walking the floor over you. I can't sleep a wink, that is true. I'm hoping and I'm praying as my heart breaks right in two. Walking the floor over you.
He was one of my early heroes, and I learned all his songs when I was really small. This was back when I was 7, 8, 9 years old. I started playing Ernest Tubb songs, Walking the Floor Over You, and On My Way to Italy, and all those early Ernest Tubb I thought were great songs. Now I got to meet him later on, and we got to be good friends. I was on his television show, and we did 75 television shows, syndicated television shows together back in the 60s. And I saw a couple of those the other day.
What were they like?
Well, they looked like they were made in the 60s.
Worry, why do I let myself worry? Wondering, what in the world did I do? I'm crazy for thinking that my love could hold you. I'm crazy for trying, I'm crazy for crying, and I'm crazy for loving you.
Willie looks nice and secure on this TV show, but playing in a honky-tonk was another story.
There was kind of a thing where if you played in honky-tonks, you better know what you were doing, because people would get downright hostile if you didn't play what they wanted to hear.
They put this fence around the stage to keep the audience out in the audience. It was rough. This is this is way back honky-tonk days.
Okay.
They'd throw beer bottles and things,
Right.
And they had to protect them, the musicians. Some people, when they arrest them, they just take them out and tie them to the horse thing, where you tie horses, and leave them there because the sheriffs or whatever didn't want to leave the dance.
There's a little girl that lived next to me, and her parents went out to the honky-tonks every chance they got. And she said, yeah, said, I heard my mommy and daddy talking last night. Said they went to the honky-tonk and said there was cold blood on the dance floor. Cold blood.
I learned a long time ago that, if there's a fight, keep playing. You don't stop the music. You just keep playing. So we just kept playing Whiskey River, and they kept fighting. And they went on, and everybody in the building was fighting, and we were still playing Whiskey River. I said, well, I guess this is one time it didn't work, so.
Whiskey River, take my mind. Don't let her memory torture me. Whiskey River, don't run dry. You're all I got, take care of.
Here I am singing along, and here's the owner, the guy that booked me there. All of a sudden, he tries to drive this big old tank of a '59 Cadillac in the front door, and I was saying, oh, wow, is this what it's all about, So then about 3 or 4 months later, they booked me back there, and this time the guy he's got a .45, man, a big old gun and .45, and he gets pretty liquored up, and he gets pretty happy, and he starts shooting his gun off in the roof, so needless to say, I never went back there, but it did provide a more or less of an idea, an inspiration for us to write that song.
Can you give us the song?
Sure, I'll give you a little bit of the song. Let me see. Let me do it in this key. There's a place down the street we call Sam's Place. Yeah, and it starts a-jumping every evening when the sun goes down. You can always find me down at Sam's Place. Oh, that's where the gang all hangs around. Well, there's old Jimmie shaking Tina. She hails from Pasadena.
She always got a big smile on her face. There's old Hoochie Coochie Hattie, she comes from Cincinnati. Yeah, there's always a party at Sam's place.
The kind of the myths grow out of the honky tonks, and there's a lot of great stories. And this guy came over, he told me a story about, and right before Hank Williams died, he came through there. He said Hank Williams' suitcase was lying open on the bed, and he just couldn't help but just kind of look over and see what was in it. And he said all that was in there was one clean shirt, a bunch of wadded up 20s, and a 45. And that was kind of spoke about, you know, life on the road to a honky-tonk man, you know.
Well, I left my home down on the rural route and told my folks I'm going stepping out and get the honky-tonk blues. Lord, the honky-tonk blues. Well, Lord, I got 'em. I got the honky-tonk blues.
I was on the show in New Orleans, Louisiana, when he had his wedding on the stage, and they did a matinee and a night show, and it was a 7,500 seat auditorium, I think, and he filled it up to overflowing. Then they got married on the stage twice, and then they found out there wasn't any of them legal because he wasn't divorced from Audrey yet or something. He was in a heap of trouble. He was used to being in trouble, I think.
Yeah. I mean, he did a lot of honky-tonking himself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was quite a drinker, and he didn't live long enough to quit. He had a terrible back ailment, and he had to use drugs to control the pain for him to be able to perform at all. He died of old age at 29 years old.
Oh, Lord, I got 'em. I got the honky-tonk blues.
Oh, I met you one night in that honky-tonk den. I'd seen you before, but I couldn't say when. You was feeling lonely, I was feeling blue. And this ain't war is, but it'll just have to do. Yeah, it was dark in there and cold as a cavern. Everyone looking so brave and so bold. All but looking for love in a honky-tonk taverns, like digging for the Dutchman's gold. Well, I didn't go outside just to hurt your sweet feelings. I just wanted more room and a higher ceiling, a little fresh air and a chance to forget situations and plans that I hadn't made yet. It was dark in there and cold as a cavern. Everyone guarding their whiskey and wine. All been looking for love in a honky-tonk taverns, like searching for Solomon's vine.
I always found my husbands at the honky-tonk.
You found them, you met them?
Right, that's where I go meet them.
That's where I found mine, too.
What's a honky-tonk angel? Did they exist?
I think the number is probably multiplied considerably between 11 o'clock at night and closing time. She might not have been one 20 minutes before, but it's time to go home and you'll find one around somewhere. I think these are what became honky-tonk angels.
She's there at the bar every evening, face powdered and cheeks painted red. Beauty had faded too early, brought on by the fast life she led. She's more to be pitied than scolded. She needs to be loved, not despised. Too much beer and wine, too many good times. The lure of the honky-tonk wrecked her young life.
Women don't like honky-tonks, mothers and wives, you know, because the old men hang out there too much. But now it has eased up a lot, really.
Did you used to hang out there too much?
You bet.
Did your wife not like it?
Hung out right here? Yeah, no. Women don't like them unless they're there, and who wants to bring their old lady to a honky-tonk? It's like taking a sandwich to a banquet.
If I had $1 for every phone call that I've made to the Broken Spoke, I'd probably be a millionaire
And
today.
was he never there when you called?
Well, they would say he wasn't there, but most of the time he was there. 9 times out of 10, he was there.
Have you ever heard a song, Tell Old I Ain't Here, He Better Come On Home? Yeah, they unplugged the phone today while we're talking, because if women would call, they say, let me talk to son. He ain't here. You know, he's this close to the phone, you know.
So were you ever I Ain't Here?
Was I? Oh, I hadn't been here a lot of times, yeah.
Yeah.
At least I know where he is. And I'd rather him be there than some whorehouse somewhere. Or, you know, I mean, I told him one time I was going to get a cot and make him a little room in the back and just take his clothes down there and hang them up somewhere at the Broken Spoke. He was there more than home.
Here's a little classic honky-tonk music for you, ladies and gentlemen. Let me see you on that dance floor. It's called If You Don't Believe I Love You, Ask My Wife. We've been spending more time together than maybe we should. I wish that I could stay with you for good. But the lady that I married needs me too. Even when I'm out here loving on you, she stays home fighting tears and recalling all those years when she was the only woman in my life. Yes, I leave her there at home while you and I carry on. If you don't believe I love you, ask my wife. She'll tell you all about it.
Don't you dance with other guys?
Me? Friends. If they're good friends of his, or like my brother-in-law is a wonderful dancer, I'll dance with him, but
I'll dance with
Wayne,
anybody.
yeah. I would if my husband wasn't there.
But what if he was there?
But I'd rather take you out to the Broken Spoke, honey, and keep you up all night. If you don't believe I love you, ask my wife. She stays home fighting tears and recalling all those years when she was the only woman in my life. Yes, I leave her there at home while you and I carry on. If you don't believe I love you, ask my wife. Everybody, if you don't believe I love you, ask my wife.
Did you used to dance at gigs when Jesse was playing?
Oh, always, yes. And he'd get jealous.
Would he?
I didn't think there was anything wrong with a bunch of guys sitting around the table talking to me. But it was a bunch of their friends, you know, and musicians and their friends. And when we started home, he really told me how he felt about it. He wanted me to discourage people from being so chummy with me. They had their arms around me and this and that. Because I was his new wife, you know. And I was a honky-tonk angel, that's what I was. Yeah. I think that's what a honky-tonk angel is. I'm the honky-tonk queen now. I love honky-tonks because it's a lot of fun. I still do. I go every time I get a chance.
There's a lot of shuffling in Texas dance.
It is part of the sound. You don't realize that until, and in a lot of honky tonks, they don't have as good a sound as a broken spoke of the people shuffling. And they put the sawdust or cornmeal, and they sprinkle it on the floor. It makes your feet glide so that you don't have to pick them up. You can just shuffle. And then when you shuffle like that, then you can do all kinds of fancy footwork.
And the king of shuffle was Ray Price.
How blue ain't the word for the way that I feel, and the storm's brewing in this heart of mine. This ain't no crazy dream, I know that it's real. You're someone else's love now, you're not mine.
The old Ray Price shuffle beat was my favorite. It was a combination of Hank Williams and Bob Wills. He took the fiddle player, Tommy Jackson, who had played similar to Bob Wills, used the shuffle beat on the drums, and sang a little bit like Hank Williams and came up with the Ray Price sound. And that was the sound that was so popular back when I was with him.
The arms that reach to hold somebody new, for my yearning heart keeps saying you're not mine. My trouble might know soon to another you'll be with, and that's why I'm lonely all the time.
It takes a while listening to country music before you get to Lefty Frizell. When you do, you find out just how much he influenced Willie Nelson, Merle Haggard and George Jones, three great country stylists, three great honky-tonkers. Lefty had a warm and emotional voice and a charisma when he started as powerful as Elvis's. He was the young prince in the golden age of honky-tonk.
If you got the money, honey, I got the time. You go honky-tonkin' and we're gonna have a time. We'll make all the night spots, dance to the music fine. You got the money, honey, I got the time. Well, ain't no use to tarry, so let's start out tonight. We'll spread joy, oh boy, and we'll spread it right. We'll have no fun, baby, all the way down the line. You got the money, honey, I got the time.
But I've been a Lefty Frizell fan forever. From Always Late to Mom and Dad Waltz, and he was a honky-tonker too. I mean, I remember a time in Waco when he was supposed to have been playing this particular club in Waco, and it had come time for his show, and they couldn't find him, and he was over across town at another honky-tonk playing for nothing.
If you got the money, honey, I got the time. We'll go honky-tonkin' and we're gonna have a time. Bring along your Cadillac, leave no wreck behind. You got the money, honey, I got the time. One more time over here. Where we go honky-tonkin', make every club in town. We'll go to the park, we'll start, we won't fool around. But if you run short of money, honey, I'll run short of time. You know more money, honey, I know more time.
But did honky-tonking kill Lefty Frizell as well?
Well, he also had a drinking problem that he never could overcome, and just that, along with some other things, just finally caught up with him. But he died a fairly young man too, I think 46, 47. Something like that.
Life in the 30s was hard and uncompromising, but at least you knew you were in the shit. The 40s and 50s were affluent but confusing. People were uprooted from country to town, families got divorced, and all with cars and TVs, all this apparent new wealth. Folks needed songs to tell them they were not alone, songs that helped them carry on through all this confusion. They needed real, hard songs, a slice of life, a glimpse of gloom. So down in the honky-tonks, country music grew up.
Well, fools fall in love, wise men may fall too. wise men hit the bottom. Man, a fool just falls on through. They fill out empty spaces just like fingers fill a glove. I must be a fool, 'cause fools fall in love. And fools fall in love. They're easy to deceive. Fools fall in love on a long cold winter's eve. Clouds in the sky, snowflakes flying from above. Logs are on the fire, that's when fools fall in love.
Well, I've always thought that the lyrics were important, and it was absolutely necessary that people hear the lyrics. It is for me. When I hear a song that I can't hear the lyric, it's over. I mean, I've got to turn to another station if I can't hear what the guy's saying.
Yeah, and fools fall in love. Beat those neon lights. Fools fall in love on a long, hot summer night. They feel no hesitation, and they seldom need a shove. They just start out leaning over, and then fools fall in love. And fools fall in love, and they just can't resist. Fools fall in love, they don't even have to kiss. They breathe and sigh and sound just like some lonesome morning dove. I must be a fool, 'cause fools fall in love.
There's always a song that fits every situation in country western music. And you can always find, if you're mad about something or happy about something, you're going to find a song that's going to fit your mood.
If you ever have fuss with your old lady, you break up with your girl or have a fight with your wife, you go listen to the country radio station, you know every one of those songs are just for you, you know. I'm always on a mountain when I fall, you know. You hear everybody quoting. Everybody quotes Willie a lot, you know.
Why hang around for an ending that's laden with sorrow? We've both been around, and we both seen that movie before. As much as I love you, I can't live while fearing tomorrow. If the better part's over, why should we try anymore? Is the better part over? Has a raging river turned into a stream? Is the better part over? Are we down to not quite saying what we mean? And after thinking it over, wouldn't you rather have the ending nice and clean, where love remains in all the closing scenes? If the better part's over.
Cry in your beer. I mean, listen to that sad song. You know, that might be just the thing that you need to show you which way to go. You know, when you know the glass is empty and they turn out the lights. You know, that's a sad situation. But the sun comes up the next day. You know, so.
There used to be a lot of men who were ashamed to cry, who felt that it was a weakening of character or something to cry. But once they had a couple of beers and loosened their emotions, then they would go ahead and do it, and they got it out of their system. And psychiatrists will tell you that a person is better if he cries.
The windmills and the water tanks all stand on solid ground. The country mailman The sunlight came and the sunlight went, and the stars came out to see. The way I laughed and the way I cried at the way you treated me. The ocean, babe, is watered down, but these plains are high and dry. And though you've seen your share of dreams, you've never seen me cry.
There's nothing wrong with crying. Well, if you're lucky enough to have a beer to cry in, that's okay.
Right. But country music has that, doesn't it? It has a kind of a self-mocking thing, doesn't it? Sort of
Yeah, a lot of double meanings. If I said you had a beautiful body, would you hold it against me? You know, all that. 1,000 of them. I can't think of any of them right now, but you know.
No, but isn't that something to do with laughing while you cry, or, you know, when things get so bad?
Yeah, I think so, really, because a lot of songs are so sad, they're almost funny. Like Things Have Gone to Pieces. Somebody throwed a baseball through my window.
It's a song called If You Ain't Married, Sunny Side Up, Try Divorce Over Easy.
Well, if you and your good woman ain't good to each other no more, the times when that uneasy peace becomes an easy war. Sliding down the slippery slope when life gets kind of greasy. You ain't married, sunny side up, try divorce over easy. If the flames flickered low and love was turned to hate, if nothing in your cold, cold hearts can help you clean its slate, if things just go from bad to worse, then from worse to sleazy, if you ain't married, sunny side up, try divorce over easy. Eggs is eggs, and I'll be bound, I know my eggs from bacon. Same for you, you've been around, you know when folks is faking. Sliding down the slippery slope when life gets kind of greasy. If you ain't married, sunny side up, try divorce over easy. Oh, divorce me. And I'll be bound, I know my eggs from bacon. Same for you, you've been around, you know when folks are faking. Sliding down the slippery slope when life gets kind of greasy. If you ain't married, sunny side up, try divorce over easy. If you ain't married, sunny side up, try divorce over easy.
The greatest living honky-tonker of them all is George Jones.
Walk through this world with me. Go where I go. Share all the dream with me. Hide me your soul. And life we search, and some of us find. I looked for you a long, long time, and now that I've found you, new horizons I see. Come take my hand and walk through this world.
In the 50s, the greatest danger to country music was rock and roll. While Nashville panicked and collapsed, the honky-tonkers just went on playing to their audience in the beer joints like pub rockers. Their audience grew old with them. Rock and roll had stolen the young people, Hank Williams had died, but honky-tonkers like Webb Pierce, Ernest Tubb, Lefty Frizell, and a little later George Jones just went on singing their sad, sad songs.
And now that I've found you, new horizons I see. Come take my hand and walk through this world with me. Come take my hand and walk through this world.
George Jones teamed up with Tammy Wynette and stayed in Nashville. Willie Nelson moved back west to Texas, and Buck Owens stayed in California. Freed from Nashville's bland commercialism, they refused to clean up their acts and just went on honky-tonking.
They're gonna put me in the movies. Well, now they're gonna make a big star out of me. And we'll make a scene about a man that's sad and lonely. That's me. And all I gotta do is act naturally. Well, I'll bet you I'm gonna be a big star. I might win an Oscar, you can't never tell. The movies are gonna make me a big star, 'cause I can play the part so well. Well, I hope you'll come to see me in the movie. Then I know that you're gonna plainly see, yeah, the biggest fool that's ever hit the big time. And all I gotta do is act naturally. All right, Doc.
All of my early influences was Bob Wills and the Texas Playboys, which had the good beat, because in the Southwest, the only way to make any money in music when I was growing up and when I was learning to play is to learn to play dances. And then Little Richard and Chuck Berry. So I think a combination of the early rock and roll and the driving sounds of Bob Wills, and I think I kind of put those together.
Well, I hope you come to see me in the movie. Then I know that you're gonna plainly see, yeah, the biggest fool that's ever hit the big time. And all I gotta do is act naturally. 2, 3, 4. All I gotta do is act naturally.
I see it as being a great kinship, between early rock and roll and country.
Right.
Especially the raunchy honky-tonk country.
Close up the honky-tonks, lock all the doors. Don't let the one I love go there anymore. Close up the honky-tonks.
Some honky-tonks did close, but the music refused to lie down and die despite being caught in the crossfire between rock and roll and country. Now a new generation of honky-tonkers are finding their roots again and discovering that country and rock and roll are not so far apart after all.
Sit a little closer, just come on over. Put your pretty little self right next to me, and give yourself to someone who wants you. I'm a man so blind with love I cannot see. I'm a man so blind with love I cannot see. I'm a man so blind with love I cannot see.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, that's, but people are afraid to just have that much fun with their music now, for some reason. But I guarantee you, the minute the Wagoners work it up, it'll pack a dance floor.
So many nights I have cried, and my troubled mind has really tried. It's so hard, oh, I can't decide. Well, I can't stay, and I can't leave. My heart keeps asking, which will it be? Either way is all wrong for me.
guarantee you that rockabilly was born in the honky tonks.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Instead of playing the songs, they just put the bass line, put the walking bass line in there. Yeah, how many honky tonk songs do you hear that's got that walking bass line? There's a bunch of them,
It was historical, wasn't it? Like 30 years ago, the split happened between rock and roll and country.
Right.
And it was a fake split.
Well, it was largely due to, a lot of it was Nashville's fault. I mean, the Country Music Association was formed in 1958 because Elvis scared the hell out of Nashville. Hadn't been for Elvis, there never would have been a CMA. Whereas, I mean, hindsight's 20/20, but I think Nashville now realizes they should have embraced Elvis and Buddy Holly.
Can't stay, and I can't leave. My heart keeps asking, which will it be? Either way is all wrong for me.
We played a couple Saturdays ago, and you couldn't hardly swing a dead cat without hitting a college-age kid.
Yeah, good crowd. A lot of young people out there, and you're seeing that more and more. Dwight Yoakam shows a place called the Blue Bonnet Palace out there by San Antonio. It's mostly a middle-aged joint, but you go out there and Dwight Yoakam's playing, and there's a lot of young kids out there going out there to see that guy.
Well, I'm a honky-tonk man, ain't a crazy style. Love to give the girls a whirl to the music of an old jukebox. When my money's all gone, I'm on the telephone singing, hey, hey, mama, can your daddy come home? Well, now I'm living wild and dangerously. I've got plenty of company. The moon comes up and the sun goes down, but I can't wait to see the light of town. 'Cause I'm a honky-tonk man, and I can't seem to stop. Love to give the girls a whirl to the music of an old jukebox.
But why wouldn't he fit into Nashville?
Well, I think he's too rank, and I think he's too raw, and I think he's too much of a rebel, and I think he's too California-ish, and I think he's too honest. I think he's far too honest in his music and his approach, And the fact that they tell him that he sings through his nose, I don't think bothers him at all. They told me that. You got to be yourself, and I think that's why. I think, and I think Dwight is not and never will be accused of having what I call a Nashville mentality.
I'm a honky-tonk man, and I can't seem to stop. Love to give the girls a whirl to the music of an old jukebox. When my money's all gone, I'm on the telephone singing, hey, hey, mama, can your daddy come home?
I mean, I know 5 years ago, if my band had been together, we couldn't have gotten a record deal. No way. But now, Nashville is even starting to open its ears.
You were too country, Father.
Yeah, we were too country and too young.
Has country music found its roots again?
I think so. I think so. I don't think it's just wishful thinking either.
That's what I want to know, because, I would wish it.
I mean, it's a shame that it ever lost it, and the worst part about it is it's its own fault. And the question now is, will it lose it again? Lord willing, if the Wagoneers go and just sell a mess of records and all the country listeners listen to it, will country turn 40 with me, or will there be a 20-year-old to take my place?
I confess, I've been lying about you and how I feel. I confess, I've been crying. It's time you knew that my love is real. She goes out with others, I'm asked if I'm mine. Though I say it doesn't matter, it tears me up each time. I confess, I've been lying about you and how I feel. I confess, I've been crying. It's time you knew that my love love is real. It's time you knew that my love is real. It's time you knew that my love is real. Thank you.